La 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 la. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Delman.
So the big question is that we're posing out there to everyone today is: are you still living paycheck to paycheck as an entrepreneur? Right, and this is something that I've done quite a few times. I can speak. I can talk about this from experience. It's amazing how it works. And Brian, we were just talking a few minutes ago before we went live, and you said, "Oh, that sounds like a great topic. That's something I can speak to." Right. Um, It takes a little vulnerability to talk about it, though. I think it's kind of embarrassing, right, for a lot of people, even if it's a really big paycheck. A lot of people still live paycheck to paycheck. But I want to do a little poll before we talk about paychecks. Um, I want to know of our viewers who watched the Super Bowl. I would like to know. So
Oh,
comment below if you watched the
sore,
Super Bowl. Is it
sore
yes?
subject in Philadelphia.
Is it no? And if you wish, how did you feel about the Super Bowl? I'm just going to leave that wide open. How did you feel about the Super Bowl? What was your experience like? I have never, ever, 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 ever in my life have I been a team sports fan. I've never enjoyed doing team sports. I've never enjoyed watching team sports. I've always been into cartoons and superheroes and more nerdy stuff, right? And I'm a runner, but like, and I enjoy being on a running team because it pushes me to go harder. But I love running and I love races because at the end of the day, it's just you. You know what I mean? You can't like blame anybody else for not passing the ball to you, or you can't blame somebody else for screwing up the play because it's just you're a one man, one woman show and you're just doing it. And so I've never connected with team sports. Brian, on the other hand, you have a very different experience. I mean, you're all jacked up about the Super Bowl.
A little bit. I mean, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm from Philadelphia. We were in the Super Bowl, and you're right, Tommy. Though when you play team sports, you also can't. Well, no, when you do things like run, when you do like I guess a solo sport, you can't blame the referees for helping the
Yeah,
other team win as well.
yeah. It's
Those who
all
saw the Super Bowl know what I'm referencing.
well. I now you're also a marketer though, Brian.
I am.
And a great part of the Super Bowl are the ads. How were the ads this year?
They were entertaining. I will say, as typical. This year, I actually found the ads a little more entertaining. I thought that the advertisers in general did a better job of stepping up the entertainment value versus last year's Super Bowl. As a direct response marketer, I'm not fond of maybe necessarily the effectiveness of their ads. I'll actually have to go back. Usually, I didn't do it this year, probably because I was more invested in the actual game itself than the commercials. But I will need to go back review the commercials because typically, Telman, what I do after every Super Bowl is I do like an analysis of if there was a company that maybe did more of like a call to action or
Yeah,
had
had
response
some sort
elements
of
in
a
their
direct
ads.
response component, right?
Yeah, we like to give them. I like to give them my own little award for that.
Nice, nice.
The
Yeah, I was
Brian
curious. I was going to
Edmondson
ask you
Super
if you
Bowl
noticed any
Advertising Awards.
direct response is becoming so much more mainstream than it was 20 years ago. Like um, everybody's building their email list. It's pretty awesome. I was just imagining maybe a guy like Grant Cardone doing a commercial for the Super Bowl. Like I can see that working. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It could be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm curious, or maybe even a guy like Dean Graziosi. I can see a guy like Dean Graziosi like up on screen doing his own like Super Bowl commercial, or even I can see the Harmon brothers doing a sweet Super Bowl commercial. I bet. Um, well, I didn't watch the Super Bowl and I didn't watch any of the commercials. I must admit, I was busy playing VR on my Oculus, and I did, however, hear in advance that Old Spice was going to be introducing a mascot in their Super Bowl commercial. Did you see the Old Spice commercial?
I must have missed that one.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure there's probably a great YouTube channel where you can go and watch all the Super Bowl commercials. So I'm going to go check out the Super Bowl commercials. We'll see what's going on. I would like to talk a little bit about the phenomena of living paycheck to paycheck as an entrepreneur. And so immediately, we got some comments here. Who do we got? We got Simon. Telman Knutson got me. This is from LinkedIn. Telman Knutson got me into marketing. His email newsletters were a treasure trove of free information. Awesome, Simon. Thanks for the unsolicited testimonial. I love that. I'm very curious. Are you still a marketer and or an entrepreneur? What's your career and or your business? What do you are you still into this kind of stuff? So, Brian, I just came up with this idea to do a live stream on the phenomena of transferring your own bad financial habits in terms of how you might organize your money in a job when you're an employee, especially if you never learned how to really organize and manage your money well, and you end up living paycheck to paycheck for years of your life. And then you decide to become an entrepreneur, and then you maybe start as a solo entrepreneur, which many of us do, right? Because we don't have funding or whatever. And your business essentially is covering the cost of the business and barely covering the cost of your personal income, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck, even though you have a business instead of a stable job, right? You create a stable enough business that you're still just barely scraping by all the time. And then eventually you decide to grow and you have some team members, and maybe they're part-time employees, full-time employees, maybe they're overseas freelancers, right? But you're paying out monthly expenses, and you're paying out maybe for people on a consistent basis to help you, but your business is still living paycheck to paycheck, and how infuriating that can be, and challenging and difficult. And so this topic of today's live stream is about how to shift and how to move past that problem. But before we talk about moving past it, I really want to talk about what's it like to experience that. So Brian, you immediately said, dun, da, 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 I can talk about that. So
yeah, I have some.
Come a little closer.
I have some interesting insights. So one is, I'll say, and I'm not really leaning on this, but I just want to make sure people are aware of this. I haven't practiced giving financial advice for several years, but in my past life, I was a financial advisor. But also, I think more importantly, though, and more relevant is for the last 15 or so years, I've been a business owner, and I've had to learn how to manage my income for my business and my particularly cash flow, especially what's unique for people who are doing online businesses. In many cases, a lot of their income might come from affiliate marketing. So I think there's two risks or two unique challenges we have to look at when we have our own business. One is, actually there might be three, Telman. One is that your income may not be as consistent. So you have to deal with consistent income. Another is that, especially with things like affiliate marketing, your income isn't going to be immediate. So in a lot of cases, what you do today, you may not get paid for 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 months from now. So you have to be able to manage your cash flow.
Or some kind of delay. If you're just using ClickBank or JVZoo or something like that, it could be 7 days, 14 days, or a month before you actually get the money in the bank account, right?
Yeah. And then the third risk I'll throw out there is I actually just dealt with this myself. I had a refund in my business. The source of the particular funding for that was from PayPal. So, and I keep, not to get into too much detail, but I typically I keep a zero balance in PayPal. But then PayPal immediately took that refund money, and I had a negative balance in PayPal, and then had to fund Because I immediately got PayPal's, oh, by the way, you better bring this up to 0
Right.
or it's collection time.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of unique challenges. And what I will say, Telman, is that if you have a job where basically you have regular income, like you're getting paid next week, for some people, whether or not you show up to work.
Right.
There are some professions, like say commission salespeople, where they kind of might have to deal with like, well, a customer gets a refund, it gets a draw out of my commission. But definitely, I think no matter what you're doing in life, you gotta learn how to manage your money. And I think especially if you're moving into entrepreneurship, it's even more critical.
Brian, I totally forgot that you used to be a financial advisor.
Did you?
Yeah, that was before we met, right? And
Yeah,
so
it's so long ago. That's why.
yeah, and you don't talk about it very often, and so I can see it though. And so for entrepreneurs that find themselves living paycheck to paycheck, in particular solopreneurs who are living paycheck to paycheck online, I have some business advice that I can give you that I think will be really helpful. But Brian, I'd like to hear the financial advice that you would give a solopreneur who, despite their best efforts and despite how much money they make, always seem to be living paycheck to paycheck. How to break free from that from a financial perspective, from a money management perspective. So I'm going to give you guys 2 things that you can do in order to break free from that from an entrepreneurial business perspective, meaning how are you bringing the money in? Okay. You have to bring the money in first, but then you got to manage it on the back end. And I'm better at bringing it in than I am managing it. I'll be the first to admit that. Like managing it is an ongoing, constant learning for me, right? But in terms of generating the money, you mentioned consistency a moment ago, Brian, and regardless of the size of your business, whether it's a brand new business and you're just getting your first few $100s in the door or your first few $1,000s in sales, if you can turn that into a consistent income source from the get-go instead of one that's only intermittent and occasional, it creates a much greater degree of stability as you're figuring out when to ramp down from your full-time job. And so the first real thing, I have 3 suggestions for you, which is number 1, unless you have a massive savings and massive credit, I wouldn't just do it with credit. But unless you have massive savings and massive credit, I would get at least 1 full-time job right away before starting a new business, right? Or 1 full-time job and 1 part-time job. So you're working at least 60 hours a week, right? You want enough money coming in so all of your personal expenses are covered and you have leftover money so that you can get your business rolling, right? And then nights and weekends are when you're going to work on your business. I know that's hard. That's painful, right? But like you got to get some money coming in to begin with, and you're going to have to work your ass off to make your business successful. So you might as well work your ass off now and get used to it in a job to make some money so you have some funding so you can grow your business. Number 1. Number 2 is consistency. Okay. And so whether you're an affiliate marketer or whether you are creating your own product or service, I highly recommend that you start by creating a low-cost membership program with a recurring subscription, somewhere between $20 a month and $99 a month, depending on your market and depending on what you're selling and depending on who you're selling it to and all that kind of stuff. But I highly recommend that you create a subscription or membership-based recurring revenue program from the get-go as the backbone, as the infrastructure, as the centralized, stabilizing piece of your business. Every single time that I've done this, my business has been stable. Every single time that I haven't, my business has been erratic. Okay, period. So that's number 1. create a membership program. Find a way of creating a pricing structure that makes your stuff a membership program. We can talk more about that more in future videos. If you have questions, please ask them in the comments. Number 2 is always focus every day on building your list. And so what happens is now you have a membership program and you know how much money you have a really solid idea of how much recurring revenue your business is going to generate next month. Okay. You can count on that $5,000 a month, that $500 a month, that $15,000 a month, that $20,000 a month in recurring revenue that you've built in your business, that $2,000 a month, whatever it is. And everything else is great. But if you know all of your business expenses and all of your personal income expenses for your paycheck are covered from the recurring revenue aspect of your business, everything else is gravy, right? So having that recurring revenue that you can, where there's no cap on the number of people that can be in there. That's another key element of this is you got to have the recurring revenue in the membership, but there has to be no cap on the total number of people that can be in there. Number 2, always be building your list every day, because the bigger your email list gets, the more money you're going to make every day when you send an email to your email list, period. So if every day that email list is growing by 5 or 10 people, you are going to make more money tomorrow than you did today, and you're going to make more money on average the day after than you did the previous. So those are Telman's 2 tips for growing consistent revenue and to break free from living paycheck to paycheck as a solopreneur. Brian, I did that in 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes and then we're done. Go.
Yep. One thing I'll say is when I first started online, I had a really good month. And I decided, I'm going to quit my job and go full-time online.
Yeah.
But I did not have any type of membership revenue. That was just from like one-off sales. And I quickly found that wasn't happening the month after that, the month after that, the month after that. And eventually I did have to go back and get a job. So I think what you just said, Telman, is key, is if I had focused on some type of membership site or a continuity income and then got that income that way, when I went full-time the first time, I probably could have stayed full-time. That's one thing. The other thing I want to mention is I'll give a plug for a book. There's which a friend of mine told me about this. She uses in her business. I haven't fully implemented in my business because it is a little bit of work to implement. But there's a book called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I hope
I've heard of that book. I think I've met Mike, but I've never read it.
It's really a great system of managing the money that comes into your business, allocating it in the appropriate spots for tax savings, for a just in case rainy day type thing, for operating expenses, for paying. It's an amazing system. And I'm working on fully implementing it, but that's been really helpful for me as well.
Cool. How long ago did you read that book?
Probably about maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Cool. I've been kind of looking, very passively looking, I must admit. But I've been looking for a system to kind of get better at organizing and managing the finances within my business because, that aspect of things does not come naturally to me. And when I talk to like normal accountants and bookkeepers, like my brain shuts off. I feel bored. I get like a brain fog. Like I can't understand what they're saying. And so if this Profit First book is good, I'll give it a read. I just opened up a tab in Amazon. I'll give it a check.
The one I'll say is that, Telman, so what's great about it, so it is a little bit of legwork to set up because you're going to see that you're basically setting up like multiple bank accounts. Yeah. But once you set it up, it's kind of automated so that when it comes in, you just automatically. So I definitely recommend it. Check it out.
Well, I shall. That's awesome. Cool, guys. Well, I have a call here in 2 minutes. And so what I'm going to say is I just want to keep it simple, which is if you want to get some leverage in your business and break free from this paycheck to paycheck cycle that so many entrepreneurs stay stuck in, the easiest, quickest, longest term, and most reliable way that I know of is to focus on building your email list every single day. If you want to learn how to build a profitable email list to grow and scale your business and buy your time back, go to www.mascotland.com/early-bird. That's www.mascot, like mascot, land, land.com/early-bird. You can see it on the banner right there. And Brian, do you have anything to say before we break for the day?
Save more money.
Save more money and build your list. Simon, it was great seeing you. He said, so Simon's got it right. He has multiple businesses and is a freelance forklift driver and a telemarketer in sales and doing marketing. So like he's got income coming in from doing something that he knows how to do and can make decent money. And in the meantime, he has his own businesses going and he's growing on the side. So Simon, I'd love to help you build your list. Reach out, let me know. Thanks for chiming in, and definitely thanks for saying, hey, Rick Burdo, how's it going? Great to see you again. Rick's a old list building student of ours, and it's really, really great to see you here on Facebook so much. Hope you have an awesome day and a wonderful week, Rick. All right, Brian, I think that's all for now.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, dude. Talk to you soon. Toodaloo.